Welcome to the Spiritual AF Life podcast, a magical place where your host, Heather Danielle, psychic medium, will bring the mystical woo-woo world down to earth in practical ways. Tune in every Monday for your weekly reading and on Wednesdays to hear fascinating conversations with spiritual experts, uplifting stories, and deep dives into the metaphysical world, all to help you tap into the invisible guidance that's all around you. It's time to start living a spiritual AF life. Get cozy. The conversation is starting now. Hey, welcome back to the Spiritual AF Life podcast. And today we have a sweet treat for you. Lainie Sevante Walken from the Food Healing Oracle deck, which is now the Center for Intuitive Food Therapy, is joining us. And basically, the conversation that we are going to have is really going to help you see the spiritual connection and the food that you are eating and how you can usually use food to go ahead and raise up your vibration so that you can connect to your spirit guides, past loved ones, and angels. And in case you don't know, Lainie and the Center for Intuitive Food Therapy is actually the sponsor of the Coffee and Cards Club for this month. So we're so grateful to her. So if you want to win one of her card decks, actually the second one, which is the second helpings deck, then go ahead and make sure that you are part of the club. The link will be in the show notes, and it is still, for now, just $7 to join the club. And we also have the Oracle 101 course that's included in the club. So you just get a whole bunch of goodies, and you can check it out in the link, but it's going to be a lot of fun. And I just am so grateful that she and her business is actually sponsoring the Coffee and Cards Club. Now, if you don't know Lainie, it is, oh my gosh, she's going to be someone that just melts your heart, that becomes one of your spiritual besties. And so I just want to let you know a little bit about her. So first off, she is the co-author of the Food Healing Oracle deck and also now the second helpings deck. And she also has her own smoothie deck as well. And she has been a lifelong foodie, and she has worked early on with some of the top vegetarian kitchens for A-listers such as Michael Jackson, Barbra Streisand, Al Pacino, James freaking Cameron, Michael J. Fox, and also Sikh guru Yogi Bhajan. Like, is your mind not blown right now? And so she also has a Bachelor's of Science degree in food science, nutrition, and dietetics from California State University. Wow. But it's not just that. So she knows her stuff when it comes to food, but she is also a fourth generation intuitive and has been providing Oracle and Tarot card readings her whole freaking life. In fact, in this conversation too, she just talks a little bit about her family and I think it was just that her grandmother was one of the town psychics in Russia. Like, that is just so amazing. And she is also an advanced theta healer, okay? And she combines her energy healing and oracle readings in her private sessions to unlock subconscious beliefs and discovers the areas of stagnation to allow greater flow and health for your mind, body, and spirit. Oh my gosh, I could just go on and on and on with how amazing that she is. But you know what? Don't take my word for it. Let's just dive into the conversation right now and just soak up all the wisdom and the high vibration of Lainie. Hey, Lainie, welcome back to the Spiritual AF Life podcast. So happy that you are here.
Oh, yes. Feeling spiritual AF today. So excited to be here. Thank you.
It is always such a good time talking to you. And man, I think that we really have to start off first with the changes that have been made to the Food Healing Oracle deck. So I'm going to put all of the links to like all of your goodness, all of the decks, the previous times that we've been together and powwowed over this amazing deck. But tell us what it was and then what you have created now with this deck.
Okay. How am I going to do that in a nutshell? But here's how I'm going to try. I'm going to do my best. So I got pretty blessed earlier this year. And I was asked to be part of a collective of 25 healers who all had unique modalities. And the majority of them, in fact, I'm one of only a couple Americans, are all out of Europe, in Bali, in Australia, and Asia. And there's some real powerhouses. In fact, in this book, and it's coming out in June, it's called The Energy Healers Oracle. I haven't even heard of it. And in any case, what happened is that I had to create a modality or explain a modality that did not include them having to go off and buy a tool which would have been the deck. So I really had to rethink all my teachings and how we convey conscious awakening or conscious eating for high vibrational wellness. And we created the food healing oracle decks, the first two, and we created a smoothie book. And these teachings about how to eat according to Mother Nature were put into an oracle deck. They could have been put into a book. They could have been put into so many different platforms, but that's how Spirit wanted us to do it. And that's how we did it. And the rest is sort of history there. But in any case, it goes a little bit even more beyond the decks, because those are teachings using cards, but there's some higher teachings. And so, as you know, in the certification classes, we go deeper into the chakras and deeper into elements and sacred geometry and vibrational frequencies. In any case, it all wrapped up. It turned into what is now recognized officially as intuitive food therapy. And intuitive food therapy clearly recognizes all of us who are intuitive, learning to be intuitive, tapping into what's already been divinely given to us, food that we need to feed the body temple and nourish ourselves. And then therapy is creating that element of wellness and healing. And so everyone could understand intuitive food therapy. And not everyone was understanding oracle. In fact, people don't even understand oracle versus tarot versus what is an oracle, right? It's just sometimes so hard to explain to someone. And yet we're trying to teach them how to match up who they are with what their body's calling for. And not all the time when you say I'm a food healing oracle deck certified reader, that was getting across. But when you can say, yeah, I employ or I invoke or I embody intuitive food therapy the way I eat, so I can open up my third eye, so I can open up my heart, took on a whole nother level. So we now have created, I'm now the founder of the Center for Intuitive Food Therapy. And it's a whole next level way of, yes, we'll incorporate some trainings using the food healing oracle deck, but it's going to be a lot more. It's going to be other books, other teachings, other classes, because we want everybody to realize that this body that you're in is so sacred and it's housing our soul. And in order to fortify it, nourish it, open it, work together, we have to be looking at what we're putting in it. And so that's sort of my platform on a much grander scale. That's the best I could do in a short amount of time.
Girlfriend, there's so much to unpack from there, but I think that you did such a good job. And I think that when you said right now that the body is housing your soul, I got like a little bit emotional over that. And I think because I think that you understand this concept too, is that when you are just like so spiritual, you just want to live in the clouds and you just want to be engulfed by spirit and everything else. I don't know about you, but sometimes, and maybe you've overcome this, I feel resentful of my body. It's like, oh, I don't want this thing. I don't want to have to take care of it and everything else. It's so much work. But then when you put it that way, all of a sudden it's like, wait a second, my soul resides here. And maybe I want to eat the foods that are good for it and maybe stop eating the foods that are bad for it, not because I want to feel better or I'm going to be skinnier or whatever it is. It's because my remarkable, amazing soul, this is its home.
Oh my goodness. Now I got chills on you giving me chills and getting you yes. And think about it, really, all of us are using oracle cards or oracle decks or meditating or praying or doing spiritual AF, no matter whatever you're working on. And that is to greater sense of peace and the connection and understanding and relationship with the divine and relationship with the angels and those who've crossed over. All of those are higher realm abilities that people are seeking. So you can only do that in a high vibrational state. As a psychic medium, in order to really kind of hear the other side, your loved ones come in, you have to be in a higher vibrational state to be able to receive. And when you're so in those lower vibrational state, there's actually vibrational scales that mark those numbers. So Abraham Hicks talks about they have their own scale. Dr. David Hawkins has a scale. And really, like when we're living in grief and anger and jealousy and rage, let's just say those are all in the hundreds. Well, Buddha and Gandhi and, these high vibrational beings are all in like the 800, 900, 1,000. So big difference. And we can actually take ourselves actively and raise our vibration by what we put in the body. So if you want to have all these things that you're searching for, it has to start off with the vibrational frequencies and raising that. And one of them, main one, is the food, how we're fueling the body that's housing the soul.
And I have a quick question. What would you guesstimate that most people vibrate now on the scale? Do you have maybe a number that you would guess that maybe we are operating at?
Honestly, everyone's different, but the first thing that came to me when you said that is 300 to 400.
300 to 400. Okay. And then you're saying that we can actually raise our vibration up, right, to a higher number, if you will, on the scale in a variety of different ways. But one of the main ways is going to be by the food that we consume.
Absolutely. So here off air, we were talking about chocolate indulgence and all the beautiful meanings. So really, could have said cacao, but when you talk about high vibrational foods, you got to look at foods that are so good for you on all epic levels. And chocolate has, or dark chocolate, or even if you go to cacao, has one of the most powerful array of antioxidants. And there's a reason that the shamans are using it in ceremony across the planet, whether it's the Peruvians or the, I mean, I did a shaman ceremony at the base of this pyramid in Tikal. Don Hermana, the oldest living Mayan shaman. And we did a whole ceremony, and of course, chocolate was there. So when you look at these sacred foods, these that come from the mother, and we embody that. In fact, in Costa Rica, when we go on our retreat in February, we are going to be doing with Costa Rican shaman a 3-hour cacao ceremony, just in reverence to the vibrational energies and healing properties and the connection to the divine. So there's something to be said about certain foods versus a food that you bought in a package that you microwave and that has a shelf life of 20 years because it's filled with preservatives that you can't even pronounce. That's not a vibrational match. If you're trying to come into enlightenment, open that pineal gland, opening that intuitive ability that we all have, all of us. It's not just you who's so amazing, me, whoever. All of us have that ability. I know you and I have always talked about how we pride ourselves in trying to teach people to do it for themselves. And
Yes.
this is one of the main ways, right?
Oh my gosh, it's so true. And I think that's a big part of my story that I leave out about when I opened up to my gifts and things like that. I had seizures, but the seizures did help me and I started meditating. But another thing that happened was my diet completely changed. And when I was getting really sick because of seizures, I was in and out of the hospital all the time. I remember my husband would cut up vegetables for me and he would keep them right there. And it would take me 3 hours to eat maybe 3 slices of cucumber, a couple pieces of pepper. And he'd be like, Con, you just have to eat this. And I grew up not eating vegetables at all. There was never vegetables in our house, anything. But what I ended up doing was I kept on going down my spiritual journey and it led me to food and it led me to changing food. And so then all of a sudden I went on a juice fast. And so it was so funny because most of the vegetables that I even eat now, I never ate them at first. I juiced them. And so all of a sudden I learned the power of food. And of course, I stopped my juice fast. I started eating more whole foods. And all of a sudden I was able to stop my seizures, going ahead, stopping my medication. And then here's the funny thing. I think that you know this, but my seizures were never actually seizures. I just found that out a few months ago. They were actually cataplexy attacks caused by narcolepsy. So now I am like, oh my gosh, the food helped me cure or help heal my narcolepsy so I could stop having cataplexy attacks, because the cataplexy attacks were actually the seizures. It's just that my cataplexy attacks were so severe, they were grand mal seizures. And I'm just like, my mind is blown, because then that's when I started opening up to my abilities. It was after I meditated and got my food. And now it's like hilarious. Like I eat vegetables every day.
So I didn't even know what to say. There's so many things to talk about. That was so packed with information, but I just pulled a card to just see what all that was about. Are you ready?
I'm ready. Oh my God, chocolate.
Indulgence, literally. So There's so much I can interpret.
You're like speechless right now. I can hear it. You're like, wait a second, this is so cool. We just talked about chocolate. And then before we even came on here, you pulled that card for me. It is coming up again. And I'm gonna be honest, Saturday, I allow myself to be a little more loosey-goosey with some of my food. And I had some chocolate today, and it was freaking amazing. And I loved it. So I think that it's also not about being perfect, but it's definitely about knowing.
It's so about knowing. That's the whole idea, is to know when it's okay to indulge and it's okay to transmute and it's okay to kind of go back into, okay, cool, I had my moment, it was great, and doing it without guilt, doing it without all the preconceived judgments that we place on ourselves and society places on ourselves. I know it's so bad, but I'm doing it anyways, because then you go into some part of some psychological talk about crazy shame when you start saying, oh, I know I'm doing this, this is bad. Like, you're already telling your body that. It's like, effing just eat it, drink it. Because I had chocolate milk in my smoothie the other day. Someone gave me this really cool drink, and I gave it a shot and I loved it. But in any case, have the chocolate. Like last night, I just had it and I don't even think twice about it. I just say, you know what? I'm so in gratitude that I can indulge right now, because tomorrow morning I'll probably just go back to having a standard routine of X, Y, and Z. So yeah. But when you were talking before about how your husband used to cut up little pieces of cucumber, in my mind, I don't know if you were actually using that verbatim or as an example, but of course, cucumbers are balance card. And here you're bringing your body into balance, and see, spirit.
And it was true. Yeah. Maybe he like subconsciously did that. And then also peppers are inspiration. And so it's just like inspiring me to have balance and to like keep going. And anytime that I get sick too, I always turn back to food, and it always helps me out. And in fact, I can tell in my readings when I've been eating a little bit more crappier than, versus a little more healthier. And the way that I always see it is we are living beings. We're living, we have chi, we have prana. And so oftentimes we eat dead food, processed food, animals that are dead, everything that's dead. And I try
inner aisle food. I call it inner aisle.
Inner aisle. Yeah. Oh yeah. Inner aisle foods. And we'll talk about that too. But I'm like, what are you putting in your body? Are you putting in living things? Or are you putting in things that are dead, like those microwavable foods and stuff like that? What are you feeding your energy? Because you're not feeding it living stuff. But yeah, the inner aisle food. So I think everybody's heard this maybe, but just tell us, just so that we can hear it again.
Well, I call it inner aisle foods because when you think about going into a grocery store, the produce sections, the foods that are live, well, not to say now you're talking about foods that are dead, but foods that have bioavailability and have consciousness are foods that are going to be in those produce sections, or things that are refrigerated, not in the inner aisle that are living off stabilizers and preservatives that are man-made and in these labs. I mean, here I am kind of laughing because I got a degree a gazillion years ago in food science, dietetics, and nutrition. So I worked like in a food chemistry lab during college, and I used to go visit all these big, I can't say their names, but big companies, and they would have us test their foods, and we would actually do a food analysis of what was in them. And my God, it was just shocking even back then. But as a food scientist and working in labs, there is way more that, I mean, people spend so much time putting a billion ingredients for the mere factor of it lasting. So financial versus health conscious, because those aren't really sustaining the body. It recognizes it as gook. And I go back to my mom's famous saying that I wrote in this upcoming book, because you had to tell a story in that book of who you are. It's kind of like a mini memoir than your modality or your tool. And she always said, more than 3, leave it be. And I used to lose my mind when she would say that as a kid, because here all my friends were eating all the fun crap food. I wanted all of it. And she would be looking at that label. She's, oh, no, more than 3, leave it be. If there's more 3 on the label, we're not putting it on the table.
Oh my God.
I swear to God. And I used to hate, like, resent it. And then it wasn't until, I think I've told this story a few times, but in any case, I come from a 4th generation intuitive family. So my mom was an animal healer. My grandmother didn't use it as much, but she was just more intuitive, always kind of having premonitions, it feels like.
Oh,
And then my great grandmother was like the town psychic in Russia.
no.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So I come from watching one of my daughters. Well, both are intuitive, but one particularly has the gift. But when I was younger, my mom was hanging around these, she's a total hippie, hung around all these metaphysical stores. And she got a reading, and someone looked down and said, your daughter died of food poisoning in a past life. And I was like, what? And then later on, it wasn't only actually maybe last year that I went and saw somebody else. And she goes, oh, honey, a really renowned, someone I respected her. She goes, oh, honey, you didn't just die in one life. You died in multiple lives of food poisoning. She goes, but you're actually balancing all that and completing the cycle in this one. I'm like, yeah, I would think so.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
Like
and
that is
then
insane.
right. So then I get the most coveted job that one could want. I'm in delivering food one day in Beverly Hills for like a gourmet. This is right decades ago, where that was a new concept to think of the Grubhubs or the, all the people who deliver foods. But there was one in Beverly Hills, and I was doing it part-time in college. And I ended up getting a job. I ended up delivering the food to, she was Michael Jackson's chef of like 30 years. In any case, we got to talking because the next place I had to go to was at the end of her block. So I had like 20 minutes to kill. And make a long story short, she hired me, and I did deliver food, but I did a whole lot more as the years went on, and worked with all of the top celebrities, anyone you can think of. But I learned not so much what celebrities eat. That's besides the point. What I learned is who was choosing what foods and why. And
Okay. You have got to, number
I can't
one.
spill those beans because I'm so sacredly confidential. But what I can say, what were you going to ask?
Okay, no, yeah, I was gonna say, okay, first off, you're not gonna tell me what celebrities eat. But first off, do they have a tendency of going more healthier or what?
Well, yeah, absolutely. The ones that we were working for, and I worked for quite a few of them, but I was
You don't have to give away personal
no, what I
information
was
how we
saying,
would.
we did vegetarian and vegan cuisine. And back in that day, that was kind of unique, but to be that good and to be that renowned, that was pretty exciting. But what I did learn in that is that here I was all food sciencey by day in school, nutrition, dietetics, the Krebs cycle, and food chemistry, blah, 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 and physiology. And then when I was working, I was learning about vibration and frequency and chakras and food pairings and color therapy. And this was decades ago, where I was learning that if you get in an argument, you don't have that argument over the food because there's a vibrational disconnect, and that you need to clear the food and pray over the food and raise its vibration so it can go in and you can feel that when you're eating. And I learned like, wow, how amazing. We all went outside to clear the energy so the food would always be at its most premium for the clients. And I learned so much more. But then I just kind of, as time went on and got more into food healing, I realized all of it matters. And then so it would make sense 35 years later that Spirit, let's just take all of your talents and gifts and put it together, and let's create some new ways of getting people to know how to, because we're at a time on the planet where everyone's shifting and we're hoping for the better, but we're all awakening in exponential ways. So this is that time on that planet where, okay, use your skills and help humanity ascend with greater consciousness in the body. My friend calls it the meat suit. I always think that's so crazy when she says that, but part of me laughs. Oh, she goes, we got to protect the meat suit. It cracks me up every time I have to say that. But at the end of the day, it's not just a meat suit. It's this, to me, it's this sovereign temple that needs care.
So true. And I was just writing down so many notes because I have so many questions about what you said, because just everything that you're saying is just gold coming out of your mouth right now. That's how I feel. But I want to start from the beginning of my questions and then carry on, because I feel like I interrupted you. We have to go back first about the people. We were talking about the celebrities, and I feel like I interrupted you when you said something along the lines of that you noticed what they ate was kind of like what they needed at the time, or something along those lines. Like, you could.
Yeah, No, I mean, I would notice that if they had where they were at in their creative process, what foods that they would be drawn to, if they were feeling down and heavy, or they were getting ready to tour. I could just see what they needed, and I don't think they even knew. And I obviously didn't back then, other than I noticed that, oh yeah, they would go towards the beet and carrot casserole, feeling they probably need a detox of some kind because beets are so cleaning of the blood and carrots are like, I would just notice if we had a menu of 5 things, who would choose what? I would always, oh, that's so interesting. Everyone's choosing the risotto today with mushrooms or whatever it was. But I would start to figure out what was going on. And mostly because I then go read it in the newspaper, like so and so is doing this. I'm like, oh, interesting. And then
That is so crazy.
I would just kind of tuck it in my, oh, good to know. And then here it
Yes.
is later, words start to take on a meaning of what foods and words say to each other. And then suddenly I'm like, oh, wow. I remember back in the day, we were making things with carrots, which is our empowerment card.
You have no idea. I was just thinking about carrots because you pulled the carrot card 3 times for me before this. As you were talking, I'm like, wow, everybody can really see or get their own message of what they're going through internally by figuring out, okay, what foods am I drawn to? What's literally on my plate right now? And then taking your card deck, looking inside and being, yes, and that was me. 'Cause carrots have been on my plate for the last few days. Almost every meal I've been eating freaking carrots, and I'm usually not a carrot person. And so now, as soon as you just brought up carrots, I'm like, my mind is blown.
I mean, that is absolutely crazy because I put my hand on the deck and 3 times I got that for you.
And
So
3 is
now-
my number, girlfriend.
Yeah. Oh, okay, cool. Well, then, well, here, now I got to read the card. Can I read from the deck?
Yeah, for sure.
Why-
Go ahead, yes.
What does carrots mean? Because now I'm sure everyone wants to know besides you and me that we do know. But I'm going to just read carrots. Carrots comes in to help you see who you truly are and how much power you contain in your mind, body, and spirit. Your body becomes more empowered with good nutrition. Your mind and emotions become more empowered by positive thinking. And your spirit becomes more empowered when you recognize that you are a divine being of light. You don't have to do life alone. Don't look anywhere else for your empowerment. It's there right inside of you. You are a powerhouse of energy, have overcome adversity, endured tough struggles in the past, and learned from those lessons. Through those experiences, you become more empowered on how to navigate life moving forward. Don't forget where you came from and who you are. Pull yourself up from the ground, stand up straight, and own it.
Now you made me cry. And especially at the end, because you're talking about overcoming adversity and stuff. And for some reason, I'm getting a lot of signs from my mom. Even today, I got drawn to this Oracle card deck and I have to buy it. And I go to buy it, and it's actually written by an Ellen, and that's my mom's name. And I was, oh my gosh. So,
Oh my gosh, girl.
and I just love it. And I tell people all the time too, if you're getting emotional over something, that tells you something like in your heart and in your soul. So thank you so much for saying that. And I'm sorry that I'm crying, but it was just such a
No, God, don't be sorry. I'm just so glad we had this moment because, I mean, 1 time, cool, 2 time, but you get the carrot 3 times. And I mean, and you always represent the collective, I know. And so sharing whoever sees us. And, I had a client, honestly, she was going through a very rough breakup, and I saw her every week. And I'm telling you, out of 8 weeks, I think 7, she pulled carrots. It was like, wow. She's like, I think I need a wall hanging of this. She was making carrot smoothies. In fact, I have carrots. Oh my God. My smoothie this morning, as we speak, is carrot juice.
Oh my God.
I just put that together. It was avocado healing and carrots and a little bit of orange juice. So empowerment, sunshine, and healing in my drink as we speak. That's so
See,
bizarre.
and I think that's a great point too, because it's definitely not just a message for me, it's for other people hearing it. So if you are listening right now, like, oh my gosh, this is probably a message for you, especially if you feel it in your heart. And so maybe you have carrots on your plate, or maybe some carrots will help you. So
She was making steam clear. She goes, I'm making mashed carrots. I was like, just keep doing it, because why? What we want to teach is that you may pull the carrot card. Does that mean you have to eat it? Well, you'll test your intuition, because not every time it means you got to run out and eat the food, but a good amount of it is because when we are feeling energy in sort of these other realms, the etheric realm, the astral realm, and we want to anchor in empowerment, which is the carrots card, we want to anchor it into the physical. So yeah, we want to actually bring that food and that frequency of empowerment into our body. And when you think about a lot of great teachers out there, but Dr. Emoto is one of our favorites. And Dr. Emoto is who since passed, but wrote an incredible book about the frequency of words on water, and that was able to look under a microscope and determine that when you say, I love you, you had a beautiful snowflake that had the most gorgeous crystalline structure. And then you look under the microscope with the words, I hate you, and they were completely distorted. So if you can put frequencies on water based on words, and food is mostly made out of water, wouldn't it stand to reason that we can actually put words on foods and also change the crystalline structure? Give it a go.
And like
So
you kind of
yes,
mentioned
so
that.
eat the carrots or eat the beets. Beets is our grounding card. And so it's, wow, I'm empowering myself to ground in this moment or whatever it is. That's kind of the beet and carrots was. So when someone was feeling ungrounded and stressed, getting back to that celebrity, beet and carrots, yeah, of course they were gravitating towards that. They needed to anchor in, feeling ready to whatever, do their movie, go on tour, get on stage.
It's like your body knows. It's like
Yeah,
a
so
little
here it
secret.
is all these decades later assigning words to foods that I saw. Like, oh
Yes, it's so cool, isn't it? And you kind of were touching on my other questions too, but because you're talking about the words and stuff, so praying over our food, that will
yeah.
help us increase the vibration of the food that we are going to eat, set an intention perhaps.
Yeah, I think so, 100%. I mean, when we pray in general, that's the idea just about anything. But when we're actually, you don't have to be a Reiki master, but when you can actually just hover your hands with intention that, thank you, just say you eat meat. And there's no judgment to what anybody eats. That's not this conversation. But what I'm just saying is, thank you for sacrificing your life, or thank you for being there. Then now this is providing sustenance for my family, or thank you, plant, for growing so beautifully in the sunshine that now you can nourish me and I can nourish others. Or just thank you for this food, God, that you provide sustenance and abundance in my life that I'm affording to be able to be feeding my family, whatever. Or thank you for this food, amen. Whatever it is, you're creating positive energy around that food that you can actually kind of transmute the vibration to, I always say, match this vibration to my own scale. I always just say it so it matches me. And there was a 2 or 3, I think 4. Anyways, there was this whole series of books about this nature spirit, Anastasia, Russian nature spirit. And she was indicating that the divine wants you to have as close to who your body is. And so, for instance, if you do your own gardening, I know it sounds silly, but I do it. I've done it. And I just recently did it again with my current garden, which is off the charts. Well, you should follow some of my pictures. But in any case, if you spit your saliva, or your family, let's just say there's a family of 4. We did this, my husband and I and our 2 daughters, we spit on all the seeds before we put them into the ground. And we were saying, let this food grow to metabolically match the 4 of this household. And literally you're eating foods that's grown with the intention of serving you, versus food that was imported from 10,000 miles away and imported, and how long it took to get there, and grown on different soil. You can actually create that within yourself. So the whole idea is to match frequencies however you can, the best you can. And that's what we want to teach at the Center for Intuitive Food Therapy. All the little tricks.
Oh my gosh, I totally love it. And I actually have a good little tip too, kind of goes back a little bit what we were saying though, because you're like being grateful for what you're eating, no matter what you're eating, and setting that intention. And one thing that I found that helps me to eat my vegetables, especially like the ones that are going bad or whatever, instead of like throwing them out, I always think to myself, this food, this tomato, this onion, whatever it is, it needs to fulfill its life purpose. And I don't want it to have to go in the trash without fulfilling its life purpose. So that's what stops me. I think it's usually Saturdays, Sundays is when I'll clean out my fridge for the week. And then I usually start just juicing all of them that's left over if I didn't do it. I know that my brother-in-law, he gave me an idea too. Like he'll throw out in the wilderness some of his bad food that's not quite bad, but allow the animals to have it out there. He kind of lives a little bit in the country area, but I was like, yes, our food needs to live its life purpose, and it has beautiful energy that it could feed to my body or animal's body. And I thought that was really cute.
I love that. In fact, I totally agree with it. And I kind of live out in the country, or live on a remote island in the jungle here. And every day, if it's just done, it's okay, well, let's just give it to all the beautiful animals out there. And I mean, there's rabbits and opossums and raccoons, and well, we actually have peacocks, but I don't think they're eating this food. But anyways, but it's just so cute because I throw it all out there, and then it's almost like, I don't know why every time, but I feel like Glinda the Good Witch, because in Wizard of Oz, when she's like, come out wherever you are. I like wait to see which animals are going to go to the different foods. And so I'm like, it just continues the joy. Talk about raising vibration.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So like you can answer these as quick as you want or however, because I have a couple of questions regarding with the food and the intuitive development and psychic connection and all that jazz. And so the most high vibrating food, if you had to like choose maybe one or two of them that we can use to enhance our spiritual connection.
I would say mangoes and chocolate.
Okay.
Or chocolate covered mangoes. Wow. Let's think of something creative.
That is freaking amazing.
You can get dried mangoes. Oh my God. And then dip them in chocolate, then dark chocolate.
Yes.
Yeah.
What about, you ever hear that term, your blocked third eye? A lot of people talk about that. So what is your thoughts, and what food do you think we could use?
That is such a good story to tell you about our intuition card. So do you have our second deck handy? I know this is trying to be quick, but
I don't, but I have the app.
Oh, look at you. We do have an app. So our intuition card is the Blue Lotus. Take a look at this, and they have the deck. And it was so interesting because when we were developing, we had 59, we had number 60 was the word intuition. And we're like, oh my God, what's going to be intuition? It's got to be something significant, because it can't just be, okay, let's just go with cantaloupe. Well, not that I dislike cantaloupe or like cantaloupe, but it has to be sort of this holy grail of all things, because intuition is everything that our deck's about. So anyways, I did some research and I discovered that Blue Lotus tea, it's an herb and in a flower, and put all together makes this tea. And it's specifically, its use is to open up the third eye in the pineal gland. And it said, oh, the Blue Lotus tea helps the third eye intuition, helps develop your intuition. I was like, that is ridiculous. So hence, intuition card for the second helpings deck is Blue Lotus.
This is great news for us, because now we can have some Blue Lotus tea while we're eating our mangoes with chocolate. This is not a boring salad that we're putting together here.
Well, true. And I will tell you that I found my favorite Blue Lotus tea, and we are now going to carry it in about a couple weeks. I don't know when this podcast is, but check back at foodhealingdeck.com, because we are about to carry my favorite Blue Lotus tea, and it'll be in stock, and you can order it, and it will be delicious, and you will open up your third eye and see what happens. I mean, it really does. I was starting to drink it before I was doing my private sessions with clients. I was like, oh my God, I'm addicted to this.
Oh my gosh, I cannot wait. I'm definitely going to be in line for that, for sure.
It's going to be out. You'll see an announcement in our newsletter or on our website, but in any case, I will make known, like, we now have it.
Oh my God. And I just want to ask, overall, the best food, or a food that you always eat that just encompasses everything, body, mind, spirit. If we were to put that one food on the plate, do you know what you would choose?
Avocado.
Excuse my language. I am an AF. I love freaking avocado. So yes.
I mean, that is our healing card with reason. I just think avocado is seriously God's gift to the world. It has so much going for it. It's got the delicious meat. It's used a bunch of different ways. You can blend it. You can, ways you can use avocado. You can pulverize the seed, which has over 150 phytochemicals alone. That's like the Federal Reserve Fort Knox of medicine, natural medicine. And so, I just think that avocado is like, it helps with weight loss. It provides the brain fat that you need and the oils for the body. It's just got it all going on for avocado.
Oh, and so thank you so much. I'm like really freaking excited because I eat avocado like every day. I freaking love it. I just love it. But now, perfect segue, because you said it has a lot going on with it. And so that was my next question for you. You have a lot of stuff going on with this new thing, with the not the food healing oracle deck, but the whole new business thing.
Center, yes.
So what are you offering? What's going on, just in case people want to jump on board?
Oh my gosh. Well, we're in the middle of lots of different things. One is I'm writing a new book. I have that other book coming out. So the center eventually is going to have a new website, and on there will be sort of a membership. So you can join, be a member of the Alliance, and you'll be able to work with all the different classes we're teaching on a myriad of things. One of my latest passions is how to live longest after interviewing Blue Zone centurions, people who've lived long. There'll be a class on Blue Zone longevity. There's just going to be a lot of new courses. You'll be able to talk to, meet a lot of our certified, formerly Food Healing Oracle Deck certified readers are now IFT level 1 and 2s. That's intuitive food therapists. And then you'll be able to click on their names, see their skill sets, see all the different gifts, because many of you have lots of gifts. And there'll be classes, studies, researches. It's just going to be an absolute center hub of all things you can do to learn how to house the body better to enlighten the soul.
And just in case, so everyone knows, I am a level 1. I'm about to be level 2 here soon. I will put the links and the show notes too, because I'm totally obsessed with this, completely loves this, because this doesn't just help out with spirituality, but also helps you with your body. It helps you out with everything. And I also want to say, with this new concept, it really helps people see it not so woohoo. So if you've been on the fence about like a card deck or moving forward, because I know you also have a lot of like doctors and nurses and things like that are now really on board with this intuitive food therapist. Concept.
Lately it's just been astounding. I think there's something to say about name recognition that creates safety and creates clarity, blueberry, and understanding. And I think everyone could put their head around it. And I know full well when they're saying you need to eat more onions, and I know a doctor that does that, or you need to maybe consider more greens, there's some vitamin K issues. They are already, their doctors, they're prescribing or they're recommending foods. And so now they're really wanting to go more into seeing the connection of, wow, I'm telling them to eat spinach, and there's more to it than just the metabolics. Spinach provides strength and iron. And so I just think that we're attracting more of the Western community and the medical community, because the time has come even for themselves to even see, how are they staying healthy? How can they be that role model for others? And I think life coaches, health coaches, personal trainers, and even readers of all kinds. And I know that this whole conversation has been about food to food. The beauty of this deck is, yes, it attunes exactly what your body needs. What does my body need right now? How do I feed my chakras? How can I eat according to nature's 5 elements? I'm feeling angry. I have a lot of fire. I need to cool things down. What foods will do that from the water element? And so there is that. And the decks themselves, and again, we're going more above just not the decks. We have other classes, but also serve to answer any question as an oracle deck would do. You can ask, should I move to the Isles of Trinidad? Should I buy the car?
Yes.
Should I go on the trip? You can actually, the retreat, you can ask it anything in addition, because it still has the character, at least the decks have the character of food, a mermaid or a dolphin or a spirit animal. But these are just so supercharged and attuned to be able to bring in how to house your body in the most delicious way.
Yes. And I love that you brought that up too, because I've done events with the Food Healing Oracle deck, connecting with the past loved ones on the other side. And so it's like, it's not just about food and whether or not you should have it on your plate. There's this whole entire spiritual concept that's mind-boggling, to be honest.
Mind-boggling. I just interviewed Karen Noe, and she also is a renowned psychic medium, Hay House author and Beyond Words, and she just got the decks in the mail, and she just said, oh my God, I am blown away. And that was just so cool. She channels Wayne Dyer for the Wayne Dyer family.
Oh my God.
Let's just talk about her gifts. Astounding. Oh my God. I have an interview with her. I don't know when this is. Just check back on our Nourish Your Soul show. You will love her interview and the things that we talked about, her whole story with Wayne Dyer. She had so much. I just could have sat there for hours, but she's a vegan and she's an animal rights person. And she just loves the decks. So
Oh my
I think that was
gosh.
pretty cool. But yeah, using it for higher realm and connection for sure.
And I already did announce this at the beginning of the podcast, but I just want to remind everybody too that Lainie and the Food Healing Oracle deck, they are the sponsors of the Coffee and Cards Club for this month. So I'm so happy and grateful too, because if you want to win a card deck, then make sure that you're part of the club, because you can win a card deck if you are the winner of one of our challenges this month. So I just wanted to thank you so much for sponsoring the club and to offering your goodness and your goodies to us.
My pleasure, my absolute pleasure. I want to jump into the club at some point. I just, oh my God, just trying to keep up. Yeah, 3 books in the works. And anyways, I will be there. I want to see the crew.
Yes. And if everybody wants to reach out to you, if they want to keep in touch, they want to get on the Lainie crazy train, right? Where can they find you?
I would say right now, go to foodhealingdeck.com. We do have a newsletter that always tells you what nourishing events or news we got coming on. I think you can do all that from foodhealingdeck.com. Eventually, we'll have a center for intuitive food therapy.com. But for now, foodhealingdeck.com. You want to reach out to me directly, you could do hello@foodhealingdeck.com.
Ooh, but you also have the Nourished Wisdom show on Mondays.
Oh, well, yes. So we have the monthly one I do. It's called the Nourish Your Soul show. And I do it every week, except the 4th week, it goes global. And that is on the healthylife.net network. And it's amazing. It's in 135 countries, Heather. It's crazy. She says there's hundreds of thousands of people that listen to it. But each week, because once a month was not enough, but we do on Facebook and YouTube. But if you go to our Facebook page, Nourish Your Soul show, or the YouTube channel, you could subscribe there. Then we will have weekly guests, and every week is great. And then our monthlies is generally probably more of a celebrity icon that has been in the industry a while. And everyone else is merging and becoming iconic in my book if they're on the show.
Oh my gosh. And I will make sure that I have all those links in the show notes as well for you, so you can check them out. And Lainie, I just want to say thank you so much. It has been like a delicious conversation.
Indeed.
And it's always so much fun hanging with you. And thank you so much for sharing all of your wisdom with us.
My pleasure. Thank you for all you do. I just love you to bits. I love you spiritually AF.
Yes. Love you spiritually AF. Talk to you guys soon.
Thanks for tuning in to the Spiritual AF Life podcast. You'll find all the links to resources and more in the show notes. Make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss out on the incredible episodes that are coming up.